What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to do a little parts review and install demonstration on a shift bushing kit that I just bought for the Neon SRT-4. I purchased this kit from TFE Fabrication. Ended up meeting Andrew through Instagram. Andrew's the owner. He let me know that these pieces have been out for quite some time now. I had no idea. I'd just been running the booger bushings for the last few years. But let's get into it. Andrew sent me this kit. Everything comes pre-bagged. You have your bearings, which you insert from the bottom and top, which we'll get into. I'll show you guys how to install them. You get the locking C-clips with them, and you get these spacers for the shifter and for the transmission. These are ABEX 7 bearings, and they go in with C-clips, so they prevent any of the bushings from popping out, falling apart. Especially when you're, in the middle of a race or driving, even just down to your daily driver. So, right here is one of the ABEX 7 bushings offered by TFE Fabrication. This is a stock bushing right here. As you can see, chewed up, falling apart. Big difference compared to these. These are pretty stout. This particular bearing kit has been used, amongst the SRT4 community through all the big top dogs. We got Bradley Dillon's 8-second car out there that's rocking these. Douglas Wynn's car. There's a lot of big names out there that are moving into these bushings just because the fact of how stout they really are. So I had the trainee that was just sitting. Forgive me how dirty it is, but it was perfect for a demonstration. I had the shift cables laying around and set those up along with a shifter. That way I can show you how to install those. This is perfect because I know a lot of people's cars out here are daily driven, so with surface rust, as you can see, and debris and things like that, these bearings may be a little bit difficult to install, but I'm going to show you how to get through that, and we'll get this thing set up. So just a few things you guys might need before you install these things. Just get these things out and set up, that way they're on hand. All you'll really need is a nice, decently clean rag to wipe away any debris. I'm using a 500 grit piece of sandpaper and a piece of scuff pad just to clean up the posts on the transmission, and then just a clip tool and a flathead in case you have any issues with the bearing getting stuck. But what we're going to do is clean out the cables first, and then we'll clean off the terminals or the posts first. So I reset this up. I put the stock bushing back in. That way you guys can see how it pops off. You want to be, semi-gentle with it, but you have to be a little bit rough, unfortunately. Sometimes they get stuck on there. You could spray it down with a lubricant, PB Blaster, WD-40, anything like that. It may help it out. But what you want to do is use your clip tool. You can use a flathead, whatever you have on hand pretty much. So you go from underneath, and you just give it a little bit of a wiggle. Luckily on a stock bushing, they're pretty shot, so they pop right up, just like that. Then what you'll do is you can push through it from the bottom. This one, fortunately, is very easy to take out, so just push it, pulls right out. So what we're going to do now is take a piece of our 500 grit, and we're just going to clean these terminals, the posts themselves. Now, as you can see, they are quite a bit cleaner. They actually have that polished look to them now, so it'll definitely make it a lot easier to slide these things over. Now what we're going to do is take our piece of Scotch-Brite scuff pad, roll it into a ball. Just a little roll, and we're going to stick it right through the linkage. So you can spin that around, just kind of break loose anything that might be in there that's going to prevent it from easily installing. You don't want it to bind up or anything like that, potentially destroy the bearing. And then do the same thing on the other side. So now that we're all cleaned up, I'm just going to wipe off any extra debris before we get these bearings set. You could use some brake cleaner If yours are really dirty, these are actually pretty clean, so just a good wipe down will do it for these. Now we're ready to get these bearings in place. What you want to do is take your two spacers that you have, and we're going to set these down right on the posts. Just make sure that you dispose of these little baggies in a nice, pleasant manner. Otherwise, someone in your home is going to think that you have a problem. So we're going to take these, we're going to slide them right down. Then we're going to take our bushings. We're going to slide these right underneath. There we go. So there's one. That is in the bottom. All it took was some very light sanding. You don't want to use any screwdrivers. You don't want to use a hammer. You don't want to really beat this thing up. You want it to just kind of go in, you know, clean. So if it does get stuck the wrong way and you can't get it out with your fingertips, you know, you can give a little tap on it with this, just evenly across the, you know, obviously the bigger head that you have on the flat head, the better. You really don't want to damage it, so just be very careful with that. So we're going to take this one, just gently slide it over. As you heard it click, that one is now seated. And then you're going to take your top bearing, just kind of wiggle it down like that. So this one is in. You can see your spacer right there on the bottom. Both bushings are in. Didn't beat them up to get them in there. They slid right in, like that girlfriend you had in high school. Now we have to put our locking clips on. So this part you're definitely going to want to be careful, because if you're doing this while it's in your car and you lose this clip, you're going to be shit out of luck. So definitely be careful when you put these in. Oh, I didn't see you there. Kidding, kidding, kidding. We have our C-clip. So once again, make sure you dispose of these bags where nobody sees them, because if you leave them laying around, you're going to get accused. But what we'll do is you can use your fingers if you're feeling brave. Me, I'm going to insert it with a pair of needle nose. So hold that thought. So we're back. We have our needle nose. These are obviously a little bit big for the job, but I prefer these. So we're going to grip it just like this. Keep a little pressure down on it, make sure everything's sitting there nice and smooth. And then click it right into place. Done. In like Flynn, baby. That's it. These things are awesome. So this one, obviously we're going to do the same thing. Now that we know that the plastic definitely could use a little polish, I'm just going to jump right to it. Give that a quick wipe down, get my spit out of there. Now we're going to insert the bushing, once again, into the bottom of the cable first. So as you can see, nice and, almost dropped it, nice and straight, and this one clicked right in. So nice and easy. Once again, didn't have to manhandle it, just slid right into place. So we're going to put that one down, wiggle it right over until she clicks, and that's it. So that side is in. You want the shoulder side, hopefully this comes out kind of clear on camera, but you want the beveled end down, obviously. So that will slide itself right in and click. And there you go. Bushing number 2 installed. Needle nose. Grab it right by the opposite end. Nope, fuck me. There we go. That's what happens when you're not careful. See that? So no, we're going to go back in now. C-clip found in hand. And we're going to just carefully do it this time. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We want to just slow it down, take your time with it. Oh man. C-clip found again. Now, just take your time with this. Let's get the edge on it. I'm gonna throw this training through the wall. Sometimes these needle nose are a little tough to get in there, but as long as you get it started, you can actually seat the rest of it with your fingernail or even just the screwdriver, just to kind of that one last little push till it clicks. And you can see that we have successfully installed the TFE ABEX 7 solid bushing kit on the transmission side. So these are very, very solid. There's no give in those bushings. Let's move down the bench to the shift cable side. These are going to be the ends that go onto your shifter in the car. You will have to make a small adjustment to this one. So we're going to get into that right now. Let me get the camera set up down here and we'll go into it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're at the shifter end of it. It's going to be the same process that you saw removing the stock bushing from the top. Once you remove your center console, you'll have access to it. So in here, you'll see that you have your stock bushing. It literally pops out the same way. So you want to use one of these clip tools like I showed you before. Get in there like this and just kind of pry it back and forth until it gets you that pop. And it should pop off just like that. Same process to move it. You could push it out from the back, as that's most likely going to be the part that's completely worn out away from this, causing it to be sloppy and loose. So you just want to push that right out. I know that came out a little simple. You're most likely going to fight it, so I'm not going to lie to you about that. But any which way you can get it, go for it. Now we're going to do the same steps that we did before. Grab our 500 grit sandpaper, left it right under there, and you're going to want to polish out the inside of the plastic once again, just to make sure that it's nice and smooth, doesn't have any issues when inserting the new bushing. And then we're going to grab our scuff pad and do the same thing on the inside. Now the inside is a little bit different because it's most likely not going to have the corrosion that the outside did, but it's better just to do this anyway, just one shot. Save yourself the headache of destroying the bearing when you're trying to get it on. One thing I want to do with this is, just before we assemble it, I do want to put a tiny bit of bearing grease on it, just because the inside tends to be locked away and you just want to keep everything in there kind of greased up. So I just have a typical regular bag of grease a bearing on hand. So you're just going to run a little bit on there. Don't get turned on now. Just get a little bit coating on there. That's all you want. Nothing crazy. Once you've got that good and greased up, you can slide your washer right on. You want to make sure that goes all the way back. Make sure that that's not hung up on any burrs or anything, because if you go to slide your linkage on, it will not go enough for you to slide your C-clip, and then you're going to be screaming. So get this seated as far back as it can. One thing I found helpful in this install is to really have this linkage greased, because the bearings do fit a little bit tighter around here, and the grease is going to help those out. We're going to actually put both of our bearings in at the same time before we slide it in. So you're going to snap in the back first, then you're going to snap in the front, just like so. Once you hear it snap, then you want to take this, line it up with the shifter, and then wiggle it until it seats. There we go. Now that you've got your bearings in place, you are ready to install your C-clip. So these, I believe it's a little bit easier to try and slide these in with your fingertips. It should just slide in and snap using your fingernail, as long as you've clearanced it correctly and nothing was hung up. If you need a little screwdriver, that is very helpful as well. And that's it. Once you get your C-clip in, everything will sit nice and flush, and you will have successfully installed your shifter bushings. So just a quick recap. We did get our bushings installed. Nothing was beaten into place. C-clips are in. Everything looks good on this end. All the way down to the shifter. Everything went in nice and smooth. The only things that I recommend doing on the inside is that you really do grease those posts and grease the shift linkage itself, just as it is going to be a little bit tighter in the car. I know I had the advantage working on it, outside of the car on a workbench, but as far as the install goes, it is pretty straightforward. Everybody, if you'd like to pick up these bushings for your car, highly recommend it. Can't wait to feel them. They're perfect for the track, perfect for your daily driver, whatever it is you have. They will definitely outlive the booger bushings and the stock bushings for sure. So just want to give a shout out to Andrew at TFE Fabrication. Thank you for the awesome kit. I appreciate the hookup, and we'll see you guys on the next review. If you would like to order a set for yourself, go visit TFE Fabrication on Instagram, and Andrew will take care of you. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.